Hey everybody, my name is Josh Fakir, and I want to welcome you back to Time Out. Now, first off, I want to just say that I hope you all are doing well out there. You're being safe, and that you and your loved ones are doing okay. I know we are in the middle of these unprecedented times, these uncertain times, and we're not sure which way things are going. So we're just doing the very best we can to be safe. So I just want you to know that I'm thinking about y'all and I'm praying for y'all. And at the same time, I wanted to share something that was on my heart for our timeout today. So the word for it in our today's timeout that we're going to talk about is exposed, being exposed. Now, usually when you hear that word, you know, it kind of casts a dark or negative light. Usually you hear or see the word exposed and it talks about something that was revealed about somebody, some sort of juicy gossip, something that they were caught in the act of doing. And so normally it has like a negative perception that's tied with that word. But you know, being exposed, or the word exposure, also has some positive traits as well, some positive influences and benefits. You see, this past Saturday afternoon, my wife and I, we were sitting down in our bed and working on things, and the TV was on, and Jurassic Park 3 was playing on the television. And so we wasn't really paying it any mind at first, but then it got to some very intense parts, and suddenly we found out we both were tuned in. And it actually was getting really good, but there was just one thing that was keeping us from being able to enjoy the movie. And it was just how bad the graphics were. I mean, everything looked so fake, and so it kind of made it hard to put yourself in the character's position. Now, it's to no fault of the movie that Jurassic Park 3, I looked it up, it was filmed back in 2001. That's 19 years ago. So obviously over the course of time, you know, technology has advanced tremendously. And so we found ourselves comparing it to the more recent one that came out in 2015 with Chris Pratt, Jurassic World, and I enjoyed the movie because of the graphics. Now, what happened? Why couldn't we enjoy it? Because we were exposed to something greater. Anytime you are exposed to something greater, it makes it hard for you to go back to something less. Anytime that your eyes are open up to new realities and new possibilities, anytime you're exposed to something that where life could be, it's proven, you're seeing certain things that now it opens up your mind. It makes it hard to go back to how things used to be. You see, that's good exposure for you. You know, sometimes you will never believe that something is possible until you see somebody do it, until you realize it, until you have that moment, that aha moment that just turns your whole life around. Exposure has turned around the lives of people that we know today just because of situations that they were exposed to. Harrison Ford, before he even landed the gig of Indiana Jones, many of us don't know this, and I just found this out recently. He was a contractor for 15 years. And one of the gigs he had was building a soundstage for none other but the famous director George Lucas, who's responsible for Star Wars and Indiana Jones. And somewhere along the lines, they've actually developed a relationship to the point where Harrison Ford was afforded the opportunity to have an impromptu script reading in front of the director. And that's how he landed the gig for Indiana Jones. In fact, through Indiana Jones is when Harrison Ford was discovered by Steven Spielberg, and that's how that relationship began. So where Harrison Ford became Han Solo for Star Wars. So he went from being a contractor to today being one of the best known actors that's going down in history. What was the difference in his life? He was exposed. It's Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel actually was in a theater getting ready to get in trouble for messing around him and his friends. And you know what? It was a director of that theater who decided not to land them in handcuffs, but to give them a script instead. So instead of getting them in trouble, he gave them an opportunity to read some scripts. After that opportunity, Vin Diesel began to pursue acting and theater through the rest of his high school career and even parts of college until he moved to Los Angeles. And through all these different experiences he had, Vin Diesel became the man we know today. Now, he turned his whole life around from getting in trouble to now being a well-known actor, a household name. What was the difference? He was exposed. Last person, Mr. John Wayne. Many of you know that name. Many of you know the lines he had from his famous Western films and other things he's done, other achievements. John Wayne, he was a football player in college. He got injured, lost his scholarship, and was getting ready to get kicked out of school because he couldn't pay for school. So out of desperation, he started applying to many different companies until he finally landed a gig in the prop department in a theater. You know, props to set the stage and to take the stage down. And eventually he became friends with the director of that theater, whose name was John Ford. And that's how he eventually landed his first gig, or his first screenplay, which was Stagecoach. What happened with John Wayne's life? He was exposed. You see, right now we are in the middle of this pandemic, and we're home, and we have some time on our hands. You know, you can't really go out as much as you want to. So my question to you is, what are you exposing yourself to right now in this season? What are you studying? You know, there's certain things you know that you want to do in life. There's certain jobs, there's certain careers, there's certain businesses you want to open. There's certain dreams that you have. Are you studying? What are you exposing yourself to? You see, we can lose a lot of times streaming films on Netflix or watching other YouTubers on YouTube. You know, you use a lot of time, you know, just streaming or going through the news feed on Facebook, on Instagram. And the question is, have you been watching others live their lives, or have you been exposing yourself to the life you want to live? There's certain things you're going to have to expose yourself to in order to come out of this pandemic a different person than you were pre-COVID. See, what are you exposing yourself to? How are you going to come out different? How are you going to set yourself up to live the life you want to live? Just like with John Wayne, Harrison Ford, and Vin Diesel, exposure normally comes through a person who sees you for who you could be and not for who you are. They see you for the potential you carry. So your exposure also comes through your circles. Surround yourself with people, communicate with people. This is a time to network, reach out to people who are doing the things you want to do, and get exposed to it. And I promise you, your life will never be the same. So I'm going to leave you with this quote here from Jim Rohn. He says, if you don't risk the usual, then you will always have to settle for the ordinary. The ordinary is not enough. It's not good enough. You were designed to be extraordinary. And it all happens by you becoming exposed to what the life that you can live. That's the only way you can go after it, with a certain conviction and be relentless in your pursuit. So I hope this helped you. I hope you really take the time to expose yourself to the life you want to live. In fact, you know, after this, I want you to find a good picture of yourself. I want you to go to social media and post that picture of yourself. And across the picture, put in all caps, exposed. Exposed. And when people ask you what does that mean, because they're going to come looking for some juicy gossip, just say, no, it doesn't mean anything negative here. It just means that I'm setting myself up to live a life that I want to live. And I'm doing it by exposing myself to the realities that I believe is mine. Feel free to tag this video in here and make sure you get exposed. My name is Josh Fakir, and I thank you for joining me on this timeout. And I'll see you soon. Hey, is it on? Hey, before you leave, one quick announcement. Remember that I just released my new ebook, Overcoming Fear. Remember, statistically, it's proven that fear is one of the top 3 reasons why people don't pursue their dreams. And remember, we got to live our life. We're not living in fear anymore. So I want you to look in the link below, click on that link, get your free copy, Overcoming Fear. And I pray that it really helps you. And please let me know if it does. We'll talk soon, and I'll see you next time.
Can't restrain my mind. I look into the mirror and I look into my eyes, cause I know what I see, and I know what is mine, and I know what you trying, and it